welcome back to False Count Radio, as we're joined live on the air by the man who's about to start his own radio show in May, which is called The Last Call. Let's welcome the Sandman to the broadcast. How are you today?
Yo, I'm good. Hey, that's a good name, Corey. Last Call. I like that.
It's very catchy and very fitting, I have to say.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit of what to expect with your show starting in May?
Why don't you tell me? You do know more than I do.
Of course, you're not just into wrestling, so of course you're going to be talking a lot of sports, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, sports, politics, like anything that you want to talk about. I'm well-versed in numerous subjects.
Definitely. So you never know what to expect on The Last Call then. Hell, you may even be talking tax time next year. Who knows? But we have some great questions lined up for you. I'm going to go ahead and ask the first question at this time. And the first question is actually, what are some of your memories of being the Surfer Sandman in the Eastern Championship Wrestling?
You know what it is? It's kind of like if you were a little kid and you were, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but if you, like, all right, let's say something bad happened to you when you were a little kid and you, like, wipe it out from your memory. That's wiped out from my memory.
Dang.
It really is. I mean, I would have to go to a psychiatrist or a hypnotist and have them, like, bring up those memories.
Dang. Juicin Jobber, go ahead.
Right. How are you doing today, Sam? This is Juicin Jobber. Much pleasure to have you on the show today. And the first question I want to know is, what are your memories of your feud with Cactus Jack back in 1995?
My biggest memory was him going into Todd Gordon's office and saying to Todd Gordon, I'm not going to, because for the people that don't know, my real name is James Douglas Fueding III. My nickname's Hack, which my grandmother called me until she died. My parents call me Hack. All my kids call me Hack. My 6 kids call me Hack. You know what I mean? So, and then I'm like the Sandman. So I'll refer to myself in the third person as Hack, or I can refer to myself in the third person as James, or the first person I guess would be Sandman. But in the third person Hack, Cactus Jack went into Todd Gordon's office at 10th and Sampson Street, the first jeweler ever on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia, which, and if anyone knows anything about diamonds, Jewelers Row is like the place to buy your stuff. He went into his office and he's like, hey, you got to tell Hack to stop hitting me so hard. He goes, and then he said, I'm not going to wrestle him again unless if he drinks before the match. And then Todd's like, what, are you kidding me? He knocked me out in that death, whatever, I guess it was a death match, something where you get pinned and you have to stay down for 10.
Death match.
He knocked me out in that match, knocked me cold. I don't remember any of the match. Woke up in the hospital the next day at 10 o'clock in the morning. They asked me, like, who the president was, and I said, like, John F. Kennedy. And they asked me, like, what city I was in. I didn't know the city. She goes, go back to sleep. I don't remember that. This is what my wife tells me because she was in the room. And then about 3 o'clock later the next day, then I had my faculties a little bit more together, and then they would release me. So I had never really heard Cactus at all. So Cactus goes into Todd's office, and Todd's my best friend in the world. But Todd's playing it politically correct. He's like, well, okay, I'll talk to him, Cactus. I'll talk to him. So the next time I had to wrestle him, which was maybe a week later or something, we were in a place called Glen Holden. I don't remember the name of the arena. It was like a boys' club or something. So I never went into the locker room or anything. Me and Cactus were the main event. I hung out in the graveyard across the street, me and Missy Hyatt. We hung out in the graveyard. We might have been doing a little bit more than hanging out and drinking, you know, and having some fun. And then by the time my music plays, I'm like 3 sheets to the wind. So I go into the ring, so I didn't give Cactus the chance because they had a real small locker room right then, and if he saw me drinking then, maybe it would have caused a problem, but I turned it right on his ass. I went out into the ring, and I said, yo, can you guys people believe this? Cactus Jack went into Todd Gordon's office. I was loaded. Went into Todd Gordon's office this week and told him that I'm hitting him too hard. So that was kind of my way of baby facing myself against like Cactus Jack, because he was a big baby face too. It was really a baby like kind of war, but I needed a way, and he gave it to me. He just gave me the opening, you know. So I never went into the locker room, went right to the ring, and put all the heat on Cactus. And I was in there, and his music played. What you gonna do? Not come out? He's got to come out. And he was hot.
Dang.
Oh, man, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely.
Yeah, he was hot, but yeah, that's the only guy ever. And the only other complaints I ever got about being stiff were from Van Dam, because one time I grabbed him by his tights, and I went to throw him in the ring, and I ripped his tights. And Raven saying, like, when I shoot you from corner to corner, like, I'm shooting him too hard. He's like, don't shoot me so hard. I'll go take the bump myself. And Raven, like, taking a bump, Raven, I'm like, ooh, ah. You know, because Raven used to come in the back and be like, I remember back in, like, I think it was WCW, and Raven would come in the back and, like, Fit Finley. If you, like, a guy like Fit Finley, you got to have so much respect for him, because he can have a match anywhere in the country in front of any kind of people. He like him against like Steve Regal or something like that, or like I could take Steve Regal's place, because I learned from Regal when I was in WWE that you could work a whole match off of just working the guy's fingers and take one bump at the end of the match. So Raven would come back and he'd be like, oh, I took 2 bumps, and Philly would be like, oh, that's way too much, brother. That's way too much. And then we got them. And even before that, before Raven left, it got to the point in ECW to where Raven, he had like the meanie, he had my wife, he had my son, he had Stevie Richards, he had somebody else in there, to where he would never bump. All the other guys would do the bump, and then we'd do like 3 different sets of false finishes and use all the people. It's like if you're a regular fan and you're watching a match and me and Raven are wrestling, once, like, the interference starts, like Stevie, then I do something to Stevie, then the meanie comes in, I do something to him, then Nova comes in, I do something to him, then Raven comes to grab me for something, boom, I catch him with something quick, boom, then Lori would throw Tyler in there, and then, I faced off with Tyler, I'm worried about Tyler, and then Raven would hit me from the back and hit me with a finish. Or hit me with his even flow or whatever it was. You know, so we would have a standard bet, like if you were like doing the NCAA championship pool, how many bumps, like the under over that Raven would take during a match, and it was usually around 1.5 to 2. And that's, I mean, look, if you can get over and don't have to bump, more power to you. That means the longer your career is going to be.